My name is Emily Houh. I am a professor here at the College of Law at the University of Cincinnati. I'm actually the Gustavus Henry Wald Professor of the Law and Contracts, and I am also a co-founder and co-director of the Nathaniel R. Center for Race, Gender, and Social Justice, which launched originally in 2010. So the center really grew out of existing programs that the three founders were already involved in, and that was Kristen Kalsum, who you'll hear from later, Verna Williams, who is now the dean of the College of Law, and me. And it came out of originally the joint degree program, joint master's and JD program in women's gender and sexuality studies in law, which was the first of its kind in the country, and was co-directed by Professors Kalsum and Williams for a really long time. Also, the Freedom Center Journal, which was a student-run publication, interdisciplinary journal. And the Domestic Violence and Civil Protection Order Clinic, which also started under the leadership of Professors Kalsum and Williams. The three of us were involved in these three things, and we decided that we might as well try to do them under some kind of umbrella, which with the support of the administration and the dean at the time, we were able to do as the Center for Race, Gender, and Social Justice. And so the three of us have been co-directing that center together since 2010, up until Dean Williams became the dean a few years ago. In addition to that, we have kind of developed a research arm of the center, which focuses primarily on using the method of community-based participatory action research, which is sort of a ground-up type of research that aligns with the kind of scholarly and theoretical work that we do as faculty in the center. And Professor Kalsum will talk a little bit about that work when you hear from her. That's such a good question. So Nathaniel R. Jones, who passed away very recently, was an extraordinary citizen based in Cincinnati. He was a federal judge. He was a federal judge for the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, which is based here in Cincinnati, but it covers the states of Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And before that, for a long time, he was he was a general counsel for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and he was also the associate general counsel for the Kerner Commission, which studied race and poverty in the wake of the riots all across the country in the late 1960s. But he was really a civil rights icon who was involved, who started sort of doing work, civil rights work and work to advance equality since he was very young. He's originally from Youngstown, Ohio, but he lived almost all of his later years here in Cincinnati, and he was just a really extraordinary man. He wrote a memoir which I would recommend everybody read, called Answering the Call, which is about his life and sort of how he came to where he was. But he, even up into his 90s, he was just an extraordinarily brilliant, sort of progressive, forward-thinking person. And we're really, really honored to have been able to name our center after him. That's a great question. The center, I think has always seen its role, one of its roles at the College of Law here and at UC in Cincinnati, as trying to create a culture and environment that nurtures and encourages people to engage in social justice work. law schools are very conservative places, small c conservative places, and that was true of the College of Law when I got here in 2003. We wanted to try to provide a space and resources for students who were more social justice minded to be able to flourish and to be mentored and to find each other. And but changing culture like that takes time. But I'm really glad to say that I feel like it's really starting to pay off in the last few years. We have had an extraordinary cohort of students who have been really dedicated to social justice work, especially right now. Students who are, since the pandemic happened and since the death of George Floyd and the protests that it sparked, have really been on the ground just doing extraordinary organizing work related to their legal studies on their own initiative, on top of the jobs that they're already working over the summer. And so that's, those are the kinds of advocates we're trying to nurture and draw to come to law school to continue to do this kind of work. And that's how we really see our role, is to incubate and nurture these kinds of students who want to do this kind of work.
That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.